That's right.
All right, so in this week's We're Having an Episode, we watched the first two. Well, you got much farther than I did, but I got the first two episodes of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. And this is relatively new. It's probably a couple weeks old. It aired in the end of October, I think. October 21st, maybe?
Yeah, just before Halloween.
Yeah, check me on that one. Let me know. But I looked at it as like one of those things, because a lot of times these days when he's producing something, they really slap his name on stuff and hype it up. And like people don't realize, it's like, look, it says it's produced by Guillermo del Toro. He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. It doesn't mean he wasn't involved in the creative process of everything, you know? But it's like, all right, let's see how this goes.
That's kind of, I got suckered into that with the Scary Stories movie. Because I heard that his name was attached to it.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
I thought that movie sucked so hard.
And I grew up on the books, and they terrified the shit out of me when I was a kid, just by the illustrations alone, you know?
When me and Nick went out to Chicago to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, we stopped to the movies, and we saw that. And I remember walking out and being like, man, that sucked. Yeah. And Nick, who's much more forgiving than I, he was like, no, it was okay. I'm like, no, dude, that was fucking terrible. But I guess it's watchable if it's a good movie if you're a younger audience.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of like, I feel like if you're going to do something like that, like a Scary Stories, like adaptation.
Yeah.
And you should do a completely animated feature. That kind of animated style, you know, like that drippy,
that's scratchy.
It's like the best way I can describe it is like if it's like artwork that was inked in like Nightmare Squid ink or something like that.
Well, it kind of looks like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. You know, it's like that scratchy.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah. It's very
but not
drippy
drawn in blood.
Yeah, the blood outside the blood aspect, but like the illustrations, they kind of had like that really drippy, like it drowned or something like that, and the artwork is haunted itself. Okay. That's the best way I can describe it.
It's like, I don't know if anyone has seen like Tim Burton's artwork. I used to have an old book of his. It was like The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Tales, and it was all just like short poems, each featuring a different weird Tim Burton dude, and they were all kind of like dark and morose, you know. But it's that same kind of artwork. He's got a really like scratchy, obscure, like watercolor on top of pencil, kind of look to it. But anyway, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, the first two episodes, the first one, Locker 36, and the second one, The Cemetery Rats, or The Graveyard Rats, I think it was called. Yes. Both of them were fucking great. They were awesome, man. Awesome. Like, this is, like, I mentioned this earlier in the episode, like, this is the anthology stuff done right. Like, it may be a different writer for every single story.
That's okay.
But they're all doing great.
They're doing a great job being objective, sure.
The first one, Locker 36, which features a weird-looking guy that I recognize from a dozen things that I can't pinpoint.
I can't remember. He played the what's-his-face, the guy who's going to be the leader in the Hulk.
He was going to be the leader?
He's going to be the leader in the Hulk in the MCU.
No!
Yeah, he's going to be the leader, man.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I mean, he's got a big head. You know?
Yeah, because he was in the first Hulk movie. He got the blood in his... when he got dinged up in the end of The Incredible Hulk.
So says the leader. What a lame character.
He is the lamest, man. I feel like, how are they going to do this?
Well, like, the Hulk is always
we're going so off topic with everything.
We are, but it's okay. That's all right. People know we're out. That's what,
it's all
they like all this shit. But anyway, back to Cabinet of Curiosities. Oh, no, we're not off that. We were talking about the guy in the first episode. But anyway, I thought it was really good. All of the shots are really interesting. They're all fun. It's all stuff that you can expect by something produced with a Guillermo del Toro name on it. You know, it's like they didn't slack on that. They didn't slack on the acting. They got good actors and actresses in all of these episodes. I'm only 4 in, but we're just talking about the first 2. But man, Locker 36 was really great because in these kind of anthologies, you can always see it coming. You know what's happening, but like it's always fun and unexpected how they actually play out. And I thought they did a really good job on that episode. It was all about a guy who bought a storage locker and he finds a bunch of, Satan or witchcraft shit in there, demonic.
Yeah, just a whole lot of bad juju.
Bad juju. Right.
And stuff made out of hair. You should never... Any kind of ornate wall decoration that's made exclusively of human hair... We should get an unpopular hair braid thing for...
I actually crafted all of these collectibles out of mine and James' hair for the last 6 months.
Out of hair. And he isn't getting it from my head.
It's all from my ass. It's all... I can't grow hair on my body all except for my ass.
I really don't have that much to spare.
It's not here, trust me. But anyway, this guy, he's kind of he buys lockers and resells them because he's broke. We find out he's in debt with like a shark or something like that.
And he's a complete tool.
He's a total tool. He's like a super right-wing racist guy listening to like that radio that's like, oh, you liberal shithead.
Oh, yeah. Basically, everybody else in the country is a problem except for him.
Yeah, I guess our political affiliation. But anyway, he's an asshole, and he buys this locker, and he finds all that stuff in there, and the guy that he has checking it out and pricing it's like, hey, you have these 3 books here, you're missing one of them, I'll give you $300,000 if we can get that book. So of course they hightail it back to the U-Haul, and in searching it they find like a hollowed out back, and I don't want to get too far into it and spoil it because like that's, people can enjoy it and it'll be fun, but like I thought that was a great episode, how it ended, how it turned out. It had a good twist and it was fun. The CGI is not bad.
Right. Especially for a show like this, one of its big failings typically end up being the bad CGI and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this one, it was actually pretty well done. I was impressed with it.
Right. And it definitely, I think it took more of a eldritch kind of demon deal instead of witchcraft or Satan or whatever, and that I always like that shit way more.
Oh, dude, it's always way more fun.
Cosmic chaos, and
it's the hot topic anymore these days.
Right.
I feel like it's just witchcraft is out. Well, witchcraft's still in, but eldritch and stuff, that's always a little bit more interesting.
Well, it's just more like you can get deeper with it. It's more interesting.
Yeah. You can overlap. We got tentacles coming out of orifices. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
And so first episode was good. Locker 36 or whatever it was called.
37.
Unit 36. Unit. But the second one was phenomenal. The Graveyard Rats, which does something that really just like gives me a tight chest when watching it and makes me like breathe a little bit like more shallow, because this had to do with like claustrophobia.
Yeah. This one was different, and to me that stuff doesn't get to me as much. But the way that this episode wrapped up really it really hit home with me, because it finishes off with one of my favorite kind of practical gags of all time, and it's kind of like a callback.
Let's do a rundown really quick of the episode. So it focuses on another guy who's down and out against a debt, and he is the caretaker at a cemetery, and he has like deals with the mortician and shit like that, so he can get like the gold teeth out and all their jewelry after they're buried, so he can pay off
any kind of valuables and stuff like that.
Right. But also at the time there's a terrible rat problem going on, and the rats are actually taking the bodies out of the coffins and dragging them somewhere. And so our guy gets a hot hint on a body that's going to have like King George's saber and a ton of gold teeth. And he's like, oh, I'm on it. But of course, as soon as he gets to the coffin and opens it up, he hears rats and the body's being dragged out. So he looks in the coffin. There's a hole at the bottom of the coffin. And so he's got to crawl through this tunnel. And immediately right then and there, I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that shit, you know? And so it was a lot of that, digging through those tunnels until, you know, he finds this big ass mutant rat down there. And it's chasing him around, you know, until he ends up in this little trove in the underground, and he finds the saber that was dragged out. And this was, I thought this was so cool because, like, you really, like, kind of sympathize with this guy, even though he's a shithead, because, like, he's just down on his luck, and he was trying to make it happen. And, like, when he finally finds that saber, you're like, get him! Yeah. Get it, dude! Like, it was really a cool change of moods.
Right, you know? The shift in there, the balance of, like, you know, drama, I guess, where you're kind of rooting for him, and he's a scumbag and all that. But, like, at the same time, like, yeah, dude, like, eventually he gets to a point where he's ultimately caught in a rock and a hard place.
Right, because as he dug deeper, he found this weird skeleton statue with this gold pendant around it, and he's like, oh shit, like, that looks really expensive. So he rips it off, and this thing immediately
fatal mistake
comes
friend.
to life. Oh, it was
fatal
such a
mistake.
Cool effect.
Yeah.
And the zombie, if that's what you want to call it, was really cool looking. Oh yeah, and it's like, mine, chasing after him. So it's chasing after him in one direction, the rat's chasing after him in another direction. So he's just stuck in the middle, underground, and he has to just, like, he figures it out, you know. But and the twist at the end of this episode, I didn't really care for. I thought it was kind of a cop out.
Well,
it was too fast.
It was, but at the same time, to me, that was a callback to Creepshow.
Well,
it reminded me of Creepshow with, like, the bugs.
Yeah. Did you catch the Creepshow reference in the first episode?
Which one?
So in the first episode, when the guy who buys the locker has the curator that with him, and they're going back to the locker to find the fourth book, he's telling them all these stories and shit, and they get out of the car, and the guy's like, I don't want to hear any more of that Creepshow, Creepshow nonsense, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know if that's a reference, but I'll take it as well.
Yeah, I would say it's a reference, yeah.
So, first two episodes, really good. I've gotten a couple more in, you much more than me. I've not really even disliked one of the episodes so far, but just, like, you know me, I complain about everything. You know?
Some aren't going to hit as good, you know?
Right. And so, yeah, I would definitely suggest Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. It's on Netflix right now. I think there's new episodes airing every week.
Believe so.
And I would definitely check that out if I were you. If you like horror and anthologies and being tricked into watching things because it says Guillermo del Toro on it.
Exactly. This one is a good sell for me, too. It does what it's supposed to.
Yeah, it just checks all the boxes. It does the thing.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good show.
So that's it, wrapping us up for I'm Having an Episode this week. And now we're going to the ticket booth.